Hey everyone, are you guys looking for an easier way to be able to get rental information for a property without having to go onto sites like Rentometer and actually look at things manually and possibly have a high price to be able to pay for that information? Well, I'm going to show you a way to do so using Rent Estimate to be able to automatically get this information for a list of properties, what the estimated rental value should be. It's going to show you comps of other properties that have recently gone for rent and what that value is. My name is Ariel Herrera, your fellow data scientist with the AnalyticsAriel channel, where we bridge the gap between real estate and technology. If you want to see more content like this, please like this video and subscribe so that you can see the latest of what we're up to in tech and real estate. So to get started, I'm currently on the Rapid API site, and if you haven't watched already, please watch a previous video where I go over the Realtor API that actually shows how to get property information such as the address, number of bedrooms, the description, schools, the list goes on and on. Now, well, from what I realized from that last video, is I was actually going through that information, and this was a data frame or a table of all that information we were able to get from the API. And I wanted to see what the estimated rental value would be for the property that I was looking at, particularly so we could do some metrics on top of this that are specific to actually evaluate a property, whether it's something we should invest in or not. So there is this field called rental listing price. Rental listing price, and usually from what I've been seeing, about like 70% of the time this is actually populated, and it will give you the median number of what the listing price should be on the property, which is really useful because you can kind of estimate your metrics based off of this. However, for this property and some others, this value comes up as blank, which is not useful. So traditionally, I might go on a site like rentometer.com, and this here you can pop in the address, some information like the number of bedrooms, and then analyze the address. Now the problem here is that one, it has a free trial, so you can easily surpass your free trial and have to start paying. And then second, it's a manual process. Oh, by the way, I did find that if you use a VPN like I do, you can get away with not using the free, with not having to pay after the free trial. That's just a little tidbit. There's this API also linked to Rapid API where we can get rental information. So I'm going to quickly walk you through what's on the direct site here. How do we use the API? And then how do we tie that back in to fill that missing value that we have here and for the rest of the properties. I'm on the Rapid API site. This will be in the notes on the description below. And the first thing you would have to do, if you haven't already, is you would create a login to Rapid API, which would give you a key. The key is basically an access to a bunch of other APIs that they have or that are hosted on through the site that you can actually get information for. Now this stuff isn't always free. So in this case, this rent estimate, you can make 50 requests. Think of it as 50 properties that you're looking at a month to get this information. Then as you need to get more and more, you can expand, and then you can do a certain paid prescription. All right, so now back onto the site, they give you an example right here of a property in Texas. 5500 Grand Lake Drive, San Antonio, Texas. So we have two things up here, which is the header parameters. This always needs to be passed in. This is why it says required. And I'm going to go over to Python so you can see how this looks in Python. You can see the headers over here. This is always being passed in. And here you have the host, which is Realty Mole Rental Estimate. So this is the type of API, and then it's coming from rapidapi.com. And then the sign-up key, which I'm not going to show my sign-up key here, obviously for security reasons, but make sure you get yours and it would pop in right here. Now the next thing is to pass a query string, and that's where you're putting the property information. So they have here that you must put at least an address or the latitude and longitude of the property. In this case, they have the address, And then optional is that you can actually put bedrooms, bathrooms, the property type, square footage, how many comparables you want to see, and how many days old the comparable is in order to kind of filter down on what you want to see as estimated rental comparables. Then the output you're going to get is on the right side, and you're going to get the estimated rent. This is based off of the comparables that they have. Then they're going to show you the low amount of rent, high range, latitude and longitude where this exists. And then actually what is really cool is they actually sent you back all the listings that they deemed as comparables. And here the listings have the information of their own properties, a photo of the property, as well as a correlation score. And simply put, correlation means how similar it is to the property that you're already looking at. So say if you felt, it seems like some of these properties coming back aren't really that correlated or similar to the address that I'm looking at, maybe I can put a filter and only look at those that are 0.95 and above. That's just an idea if you want to try to get more accurate. And another great thing up here, if you notice, is that the success rate of this API is very high. So that's good because you're going to be a lot less prone to latency issues of having to wait for this API to send you back information. All right, so how do we tie this in now with our previous data? So I'm going to go back to that other notebook that I had previously shown you, the Realtor API walkthrough. So the issue that we had is that the rental listing price is none. Now, how do we get to this information here? So here you can see we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into this response that comes back from the property detail because it is a really lengthy response. So I'm setting this first to a variable, that way we can actually get some of the values inside of it later. So if you look at keys, which are the main first values, we have metadata and we have properties data. You want to go to properties data. This is for that one particular property you're looking at. And it comes back in a list format, which is why we have to select down here 0. It's just kind of break out the list and go back to a dictionary. And if we get those keys, we see we have information surrounding the property ID, the listing ID, HOA fees, broker, year built. But what's important here is address. That's what we want to look at, as well as trend, which is down here. So the reason being is that trend will tell us if we have that information about the rental listing price, which unfortunately we don't. But address will give us information on the property we're looking at, which we can then feed into that other API. So from that, I'm able to query that property detail JSON structure and be able to get the information that we need. So line has to do with street address. So I label that variable street address, city, state, and then string all these together, and now you get the actual property address, which in this case is 93 Winans Ave, Newark, New Jersey. And we could take a look at what that looks like here. This is actually newly posted 8 hours ago. This is a property that doesn't have any rental information that we can compare it to straight off the APIs, which is why we had to go to the rent estimate API. I'm going to show you how to get the information from that API. So this is similar to the previous video where I showed you how I store all my API keys in a different CSV file, or think of it like an Excel file. So that way it kind of has a separation from the notebook and there's no security issues there, because you don't want someone running up your API key and potentially running up a high bill on that. Now I'm going to skip down for now and show you I've gotten my Rapid API key. I also have the location that I want to know more about. And in this case, it's actually going to change to this one that we have down here, 93 Winans. I'm going to post that right over here. 93 Winans, that's my location string. And now when we go to the API, we're importing the library requests so that we can request data through an API. Our URL is coming from right here. So you just copy this. And the next step is your headers, which are going to be the same. Oh, sorry, it's actually going to be the query string. And in this case, our address I'm going to just put in, since we have a variable, location string, which is 93 Winans. Then the headers is going to be the realty mole, which you got from going back to the API over here. It's this information, and then your Rapid API key. Lastly, put all this together, and now you get the data. And your response looks like this. We have now the rental estimated value, the low rental estimated value, high, the location, and then we have a bunch of listings that are supposed to be comparables to this property, which is really great. There's one that's right down the road, 79 Winans Ave. We could take a look at this further. But we see now, when we get this information, some of these properties, the property type is apartment, the bedrooms and bathrooms might not be exact to ours. Like if we go down a little bit more, this one's a single family, has actually more bathrooms. So is this really a fair comparison? Not really sure at this point. But if we want to, we can filter further down. So what they have here in this example is they've actually filtered down more by the number of bedrooms and number of bathrooms, which is reflected over here. And we have all that information from that previous API that has all the detail. Because I think, yes, if we go back to the keys, we have information such as baths, beds, and even more. So if we want to get really detailed and specific, we can actually get all the information from here and then plug it in to this API, which is really great. I hope this was pretty straightforward on how you can programmatically get rental information and how you can tweak it in a sense to make sure you're getting exactly what you want back, whether that's really honing in to getting comparables that have the exact number of bedrooms as a property you're looking at, or if you want something more general. So for the next episode, I'm actually going to show you how to do this using machine learning if you didn't want to actually go to the rental API. It's going to be really exciting, so please subscribe so that you don't miss out. Thanks so much.